is AM 1230 Kxo. Well, over the weekend, we lost a crossover legend. Kenny Rogers started off with rock and roll, Kenny Rogers in the first edition, and then kind of switched over to the country genre. This may be his biggest. Well, there you go, Kenny Rogers and The Gambler. They actually made, 4 or 5 movies out of that song, Gene?
I don't know how many, but it was several at least.
Yeah. Hey, look, you got a cow that's giving out cash?
Yep.
You milk it.
It was a cash cow, that's
Yes.
for sure.
It's like the Police Academy movies. I think they ended up with 342 of them.
They're still working on them.
Yes.
I think.
Hey, there's a chance you and I may be able to get into one of them.
Yep.
Okay.
Who was the lead on that?
I don't remember.
We could talk to him, I'm sure.
Yes. Ah, well, you ready for some birthdays?
Birthdays.
Okay, singer Shaka Khan is 67. Actress Amanda Plummer, 63. Actress Catherine Keener, 61. Actress Hope Davis, 56. Actor Richard Grieco is 55. Actress, what'd you do, fall off the stool?
Yeah, that's
we have to put a seatbelt on there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Actor Kelly Perrine is 51. Actor Randall Park, 46. Actress Michelle Monaghan, 44. Actress Kerry Russell, 44. Actress Nicole Tom is 42. Okay, local birthdays coming up.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
We can celebrate our KXO birthdays. Happy birthday, Alexis Torres, Carla Paradise, Cindy Aguilar, Jasmine Wilson, Kevin Gastelum, Manuel Wimmer, Margarita Moreno, Marilyn Hammond, Mary Favila, Sarah Petard, Tony Jimenez, Valerie Gonzalez, Adrian Ramos, Sofia Santana. Happy birthday from KXO. And, of course, we just completed the first weekend of, self-isolation, home confinement,
Yeah, I don't know exactly when the time period started, but is it last Monday, or I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Anyway, boring.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yes.
But it is what it is, and that's what we have to do.
Stay home. You know, you may not be worried about you getting sick, but you might give it to somebody that has other medical issues, and it could be deadly.
And you'd feel bad about that.
I think so.
You knew you had the ability to do your part to keep that from happening.
Yes. I happened to be driving by and saw Jim and Francis, our meteorologist, Jim Christopherson, and his lovely wife, Frances. And we talked at a distance briefly, but today is Meteorological Day.
In honor of Jim.
In honor of Jim.
Yep.
Yeah, meteorology. It's a fancy word for weather. You know, weather guys like Jim, they love long, fancy words. They don't say rain. They say precipitation. Yeah. Some of them don't even say fog. They say visually impairing vapor manifestation.
Right.
Yeah. I think you learned that in meteorology school.
Something like that,
yes.
I've never heard that one, though. That tops the list.
Yes, we'll have to work on that. Oh, well. Anyway, we've got news. We've got news of the world, news of California,
and
news of the Imperial Valley.
We do. We promise.
Yes, and we'll give it to you straight. No chaser. Okay, right now we're going to jump in with a look at World and California news headlines, brought to you this morning by Lock Air Conditioning. They are your year-round comfort specialists.
CBS News update with more than 35,000 coronavirus cases in the U.S., nearly 500 deaths.
The numbers are going to get worse this week. Things are going to get worse before they get better.
Surgeon General Jerome Adams tells CBS this morning the feds are sending as much help as possible as quickly as possible.
There are supplies going out to the places most at need: Washington, California, New York. We have the military out on the ground in several of these places. We sent out CDC teams to provide backup.
There are now stay-at-home orders for Ohio. The same is expected for Michigan at the top of the hour. The city of Philadelphia has instituted its own. Bar owner Stu Keener says makes sense.
It's the right thing to do. I think that the officials have done a pretty good job throughout, doing their best to try to keep us open.
While many businesses are laying workers off, others are hiring as demand for their services increases. Papa John's, Domino's, Walmart, Kroger, and Albertsons among them. CBS News Update, I'm Peter King.
Whatever the weather brings this summer, you can rely on a York Affinity Premium Comfort System to keep your home cool and comfortable. Our new Affinity systems are smarter, more connected, and more efficient than ever before, and cut your energy costs by as much as 50%. Call Lock Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 760-353-4501. That's 353-4501 to schedule a free evaluation of your system and learn how you can move up to a new level of comfort and efficiency this season. Call now and ask about our 10-year extended labor warranty. Contractor's license 696216.
California headline news. Some areas taking action to limit the number of people congregating outside despite stay-at-home orders issued last week by Governor Newsom.
Time to wake up. Time to recognize it's not just about the old folks. It's about your impact on their lives. Don't be selfish.
In Los Angeles, the mayor is talking about not only closing beaches, but the beach parking lots to limit public gatherings during the pandemic. Emergency room doctors and nurses continuing to express concern about a shortage of protective gear to keep them from catching the virus and spreading it to patients.
There really are places all around the country where we don't have what we need. There are places where it's okay and places where it's not.
San Francisco native Dr. Jeremy Faust saying there are shortages of gowns, face shields, and those N95 masks that filter out the virus. Officials across the state warning you to be on alert for price gouging on vital items like hand sanitizers and bleach. A store in Fresno accused of increasing prices by more than 10%. Rain in Southern California, moving up north tomorrow. Jeff Scott, California News.
World in California News headlines brought to you this morning by Lock Air Conditioning. For all your air conditioning and sheet metal needs, call Lock Air Conditioning today.
America is a great big country
filled with all kinds of different people.
And we all count.
That's why the 2020 census
wants to make sure we're all counted.
Why is it so important?
Because the census helps inform how hundreds of billions of dollars will be spent each year for things like
new roads, health clinics,
even more school programs.
So make sure you're counted.
Because you count.
Shape your future. Start here. Complete the census at 2020census.gov. Paid for by U.S. Census Bureau.
It's happening. Wherever cupcakes are being frosted, songs are being recorded, and engines are being tuned, ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner, from small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
It's page one of the local news. Page one is a service of Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers. Quick Lane in the Brawley Auto Plaza, Highway 86 in Julia Drive, and on Imperial Avenue next to Food for Less in El Centro. Quick Lane, ready to serve.
2 more positive coronavirus cases in Imperial County. The Imperial County Public Health Department announced Saturday evening that the new cases involved 2 individuals that were exposed to a confirmed coronavirus case while traveling outside the United States. The couple are not hospitalized and are recovering at home in isolation. This brings the number of confirmed cases in Imperial County to 6. Dr. Stephen Monday, County Health Officer, said public health staff is working around the clock with our health care providers to make sure those who meet the criteria for testing are able to access the test. As we conduct more testing, we expect to find additional positive cases in our community. I cannot stress enough the importance of following the governor's order to stay home and practice social distancing to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. In other local news, the Imperial County Election Department has updated the results of the March 3rd presidential primary election. The Imperial Irrigation District Division 2 race continues to evolve. J.B. Hamby maintains the lead in the race with 2,091 votes. That's 41.6% of the total. Ryan Childers has extended his lead over incumbent Bruce Kuhn for a spot on the November general election ballot. Childers now has 1,333 votes. That's 26.52%, while Kuhn has 1,294 votes, or 25.74%. As of March 20th, There were 1,094 unprocessed ballots, 823 provisional ballots, and 271 awaiting further review. There were no significant changes in any other races. KXO News Time 7:43.
It's Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers for your service needs. Whether it's a lube job, oil and filter change, brake job, battery or wheel balance and alignment, Quick Lane can handle it. And Quick Lane services all makes and all models. Oh, and by the way, you never need an appointment. Tires, all the best brands at the best price, guaranteed. See your Quick Lane service advisor for details. Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers in the Brawley Auto Plaza, Highway 86 and Julia Drive, and on Imperial Avenue in El Centro, right next to Food for Less.
The Yuma mayor issues a proclamation amendment. It is to slow the spread of the coronavirus. Mayor Douglas Nichols issued the proclamation to close all bars, movie theaters, gyms, fitness centers, and to have restaurants serve the public only through pickup, delivery, and drive-through operations. Yuma County has announced a confirmed case of coronavirus, and the city of Yuma is following in compliance with the governor's executive order for all counties with a confirmed case of coronavirus. Mayor Nicholas issued his proclamation Friday morning, went into effect on Friday evening. And let's talk about it on KXO. Had a special feature about the coronavirus. If you'd like to hear that feature, you can go to our YouTube channel and catch it there. That will conclude this edition of Local News. Page 2 coming up.
Page 1 of the local news, a service of Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers. There's 2 of them in the valley. In El Centro on Highway 86, that would be Imperial Avenue, right next to Food for Less. And in Brawley on Highway 86 and Julia Drive in the Brawley Auto Plaza. It's Quick Lane Tire and Auto Centers, where they service all makes and all models, and you never need an appointment. We are counting down to Easter, and I have a great idea. When it comes to Easter candy, head to the Peanut Patch in Yuma. The Peanut Patch is open Monday through Saturday, and they carry many homemade chocolates. They also make their own fresh English toffee, plain or covered in milk chocolate. Pecan turtles made from a special recipe from scratch. They've got it all at the Peanut Patch in Yuma. Well, you're going to find a beautiful store, great people that are smiling and are going to help you. And don't forget, fudge? Oh, boy, do they have fudge. 80-plus handmade melt-in-your-mouth flavors of fudge. Check out the Peanut Patch in Yuma. You can Google the Peanut Patch in Yuma and visit them, thepeanutpatch.com. Visit the Peanut Patch in Yuma and get ready for Easter. Page 2 of the local news and weather, all brought to you by David H. West Insurance Services. See David or Jose for life insurance, health insurance, or retirement planning.
Imperial Valley College transitions to campus closure. That's level 3. That was effective March 20th in response to California Governor Gavin Newsom's stay-at-home order. Imperial Valley College leadership has determined to transition to a full campus closure, level 3, effective this past Friday. This will continue until further notice. The campus will be closed to all employees, students, and the public. No face-to-face instruction will occur during this period. However, the majority of our courses have transitioned to be offered online or are in the process of being converted to online. In addition, student services are being offered online or via phone. All IVC employees are working remotely and can be contacted via email. The transition is designed to limit exposure to the coronavirus by preventing large groups from assembling on the campus, and this reflects the college's commitment to help combat the virus. Well, another notation is the Internal Revenue Service announcement. California is postponing tax deadlines until July the 15th. The update superseded the California Franchise Tax Board's previous announcement that extended the due dates for filing and payment of taxes until June 15th. To align with the IRS special tax relief, it has been authorized that the payments are postponed until July the 15th, the deadline to file and pay taxes owed for all individuals and business entities for the following: 2019 tax returns, 2019 tax return payments, 2020 first and second quarter estimate payments, 2020 LLC taxes and fees, and 2020 non-wage withholding payments. The driver of a hazmat truck was rescued after being trapped under the truck after it rolled over. The accident was reported shortly after 2 p.m. This past Thursday when the truck ran off S2 highway near Ocotillo. U.S. Border Patrol agents witnessed the accident and arrived on the scene immediately after it occurred. The agents saw that the driver was pinned under the truck and notified local authorities. Supervisory or Border Patrol agent certified as an EMT, a Borstar team agent, and a Bureau of Land Management agent arrived on the scene and were able to remove a door from the truck and extract the driver. The man was then flown by Reach Air Medical to a trauma center. The truck was carrying propane, but the tank maintained structural integrity, and there was no hazmat issue. The roadway remained blocked through the night as crews worked to remove the wreckage. The Imperial Irrigation District Board of Directors have declared a local emergency due to the coronavirus. The resolution was passed at a special meeting of the board on Saturday. IID Board President Norma Sierra Galindo said IID provides essential service to the community, and in proclaiming a local emergency, we can direct staff to take all necessary steps to continue delivery of those services during this critical period of time. The IID is considered an essential service provider, and its public employees to be disaster service workers. District action to ensure the continuation of critical electrical and water delivery services are covered under the California Emergency Services Act. The board also canceled the next regularly scheduled meeting of March 24th. We'll be back with a look at the weather.
David H. West Insurance has been helping residents in Imperial Valley for many years with their insurance needs. David, Jose, and staff are trained professionals who can help you make the right decision with your insurance coverage, from health, Medicare, and most importantly, a life insurance plan. How much life insurance do you need and what's your monthly cost? We'll call David H. West Insurance today to make an appointment and get a free quote on a life insurance plan that's right for you and your family at 760-352-3411. That's 352-3411.
Here's Carol Buckley with the weather update.
The National Weather Service says a weak weather system passing into northern Arizona will create some locally gusty winds and possibly a light isolated shower this afternoon. Otherwise, another weak storm system will move through the region Thursday and Friday, resulting in the potential for a few light showers and another bout of breezy conditions. Warm and dry conditions should return for the weekend. 76 the high yesterday, 52 our low. Today sunny with a high near 74. West wind 5 to 10 miles an hour, increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour, with gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. Clear tonight with a low around 48. West wind 5 to 15 miles an hour, with gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Tuesday will be sunny with a high of about 76. West wind 5 to 10 miles an hour, then becoming north-northwest. 64 degrees, 58% relative humidity, wind out of the west-southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Page 2 of the local news and the weather brought to you by David H. West Insurance Services. See David or Jose for health insurance plans and Medicare supplemental coverage. David H. West Insurance Services.
During this difficult time, Burgers and Beer has decided to stay open at their Imperial Avenue location in El Centro with curbside service and using delivery.com. Hours will be 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily, and you can log on to burgersandbeer.com to see the menu and order your favorite items. We'll get through this, and we thank you for your support and patronage. Call Burgers and Beer at 760-353-4431. That's 353-4431.
It's sports time, brought to you by the Imperial Hardware Company in Brawley, El Centro, and Holtville. Imperial's Do It Centers is where you will find what you need when you need it. Canada will not be sending athletes to the Tokyo Olympics in the summer of 2020. The Canadian Olympic Committee and Canadian Paralympic Committee announced yesterday that they will refuse to send athletes if the games are not postponed, becoming the first country to officially announce their intentions to withdraw from the games, barring a postponement. Well, NFL continues to make noise. Well, they can do it all on paper and over the phone. And Melvin Gordon, released by the Chargers, is now a Denver Bronco. And we're going to have to see how that shakes out for Royce Freeman with a crowded backfield in Denver. And the Falcons have agreed to terms with Laquan Treadwell, a former first-round pick of the Vikings. Treadwell has had issues adjusting to the NFL.
Planning a home improvement project? Let your friends at Imperial Hardware Company lend a hand. Our Do-It Centers provide the sweet spot between convenience and selection, combining the value and variety of a big box with the ease of visiting a neighborhood market. Our helpful and courteous staff will get you outfitted for any task in no time. Imperial Hardware Company is locally owned and family operated, proudly serving this community for over a century. We carry only the best products and top name brands. Visit us in Brawley, El Centro, and Holtville to find what you need when you need it. Get it done with a little help from Imperial Hardware Company. Need special equipment for your next big project? Ask us about tool rentals. You'll find everything in one place at Imperial Do-It Centers.
Well, they are playing the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Classic games from the past. Some great games over the weekend. Thursday night, it's an Elite Eight matchup, Illinois and Arizona. Illinois came from down 15 to force overtime and then won. Oh, did I spoil it? I'm sorry. And that's it for Sports Time, brought to you by the Imperial Hardware Company Do-It Centers, El Centro, Holtville, and Brawley. Get it done with a little help from Imperial Hardware Company. Thank you for choosing Imperial Printers Rocket Copy. In today's highly competitive business climate, your company's image is important. The printed materials your company uses conveys a major part of that image. Our graphic designers have the talent and expertise to create a lasting impression for your business. Imperial Printers Rocket Copy offers virtually any type of business solution to meet your needs, from business cards and stationery to computer forms, full-color brochures, and posters. Let our excellent service and attention to detail provide the best impression for you. Locally owned and operated, Imperial Printers Rocket Copy has locations near you at 430 West Main Street and 100 South 11th Street in El Centro and 184 South Plaza in Brawley. Financial news and a brief look at the weather brought to you by the Imperial Valley Food Bank, fighting hunger in Imperial Valley since 1991. They need your help now. They do need help now. Stocks lower as the New York Stock Exchange operates without a trading floor. It's all electronic. And the Dow Jones Industrial currently down 450 points. S&P 500 off 53. The NASDAQ down 70. Meanwhile, gold is up $50 an ounce. And oil off 3 cents a barrel.
No child in Imperial County should go hungry. This is Jean Oswald for the Imperial Valley Food Bank. Living in a food insecure home makes it difficult for children to perform efficiently in school and to face the challenges of being a child. I urge you to help these kids. Donate to the Food Bank's Backpack Program. Recipients are children who rely on school meals and risk going hungry on weekends when they're away from school. The Ivy Food Bank Backpack Program. Donate online at ivyfoodbank.org.
It'll be sunny today with a high near 74, west wind 5 to 10 miles an hour, increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour, with gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. Clear tonight with a low around 48, west winds continuing 5 to 15 miles an hour, with gusts as high as 20 miles an hour. Sunny tomorrow with a high near 76, west winds 5 to 10 miles an hour. And right now, downtown, 65 degrees, 56% relative humidity. Wind out of the west-southwest, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Financial news and the weather brought to you by the Imperial Valley Food Bank. Become a hunger warrior. Contact the Imperial Valley Food Bank.
Built Ford Tough means built to last. That's why Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks in America, and they have been for 43 years straight. It's not hard to see why. Ford F-150 has best-in-class payload, tons of smart tech, and a truckload of other claims to fame. Drive it like a Ford. Drive it today. Drive it home. Now get F-150 with 0% financing for 72 months. That's no interest for 6 years on the legendary F-150. Only at your Imperial Valley Ford dealers. Learn more at buyfordnow.com. Based on 1977 to 2019 calendar year total sales, max payload on F-150 XL regular cab 8-foot box 5.0 liter 4x2 heavy duty payload package. Classes full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds GVWR. See label on door jamb for carrying capacity of a specific vehicle. Not all buyers will qualify for Ford credit financing. 0 for 72 months at $13.89 per month per thousand finance regardless of down payment. Excludes Raptor. Offer ends 3/31/2020. See dealer for qualifications and complete details.
KXO, El Centro, California.
CBS News on the Hour, presented by Capital One Bank.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez in upstate New York. CBS News has just learned President Trump's top priority is keeping the economy going during the coronavirus pandemic. He's tweeted about revisiting current restrictions next week. The Federal Reserve has announced it's going on a shopping spree for government-backed debt. Business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
The central bank said it would continue buying bonds in, quote, the amounts needed to support smooth market functioning. This means that the Fed will buy as much as it needs to buy to keep the nation's financial plumbing unclogged.
Still, markets are lower. The Dow now off 502 points. Senators are negotiating again after they failed to agree on a nearly $2 trillion relief bill. Correspondent Nancy Cortez is on Capitol Hill.
Republican leader Mitch McConnell is still eager to hold a final vote on all of this today. All senators wanting to send that reassuring message to the markets, to businesses, and to workers.
There are now more than 35,000 people infected with the coronavirus in the U.S. More than 470 have died. Surgeon General Dr. Jerome Powell tells CBS this morning.
The numbers are going to get worse this week. Things are going to get worse before they get better. And we really need everyone to understand this is serious, to lean into what they can do to flatten the curve.
About 1 in 3 of us now under state orders to stay home. We're learning about virus outliers.
British lawmaker Rosina Allen-Khan is also a doctor. She's been working shifts at a South London emergency room and has been surprised at how young some of the most serious coronavirus cases are.
We have patients who are in their 30s and early 40s who are previously fit and well, who are now in the intensive care and fighting for their lives.
Similar cases in Italy and France are suggesting that it isn't just the frail and elderly whose lives could be at risk. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
As for July's games in Tokyo,
it is looking more and more likely that the Summer Olympics will be postponed. The head of Japan's Olympic Committee said today a delay has to be considered. That's the strongest statement yet by any Japanese official. Two countries, Canada and Australia, now say they will not send a team to Japan. Here in this country, U.S. Swimming and the U.S. Track and Field Federation have both called for a postponement. Steve Futterman, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And homes become schools for tens of thousands of kids today.
Do you miss going to school?
Not really. This is CBS News.
Why settle for average? With Capital One, you can open an account with a savings rate 5 times the national average. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet? Capital One N.A., member FDIC.
When Allstate agents and employees go to work every day, their number one priority is protecting what matters most to you. For military veterans, that instinct to protect also comes naturally. No wonder thousands of veterans build good careers with Allstate. And now, Allstate is ranked the number one employer on the 2020 Military-Friendly Employers list. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For career opportunities or to get a quote, contact Allstate today. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year, automatically, dollar for dollar, with no limit on how much you can earn. Extra cash? Come on, how amazing is that? In fact, it's even more amazing when you realize all the places where Discover is accepted. 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. So when it comes to Discover, get used to hearing yes more often. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2020 Nielsen Report. Limitations apply.
Siri will now be able to answer your questions about the coronavirus.
Apple has updated its voice assistant to provide users with a step-by-step questionnaire when they ask if they have coronavirus. If users tell Siri they are not experiencing extreme conditions, she will instruct them to stay at home, and if symptoms become worse, to contact a doctor. Users will also be provided with a link to telehealth apps and information on how to receive a virtual consultation. All of the prompts have been approved by the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services. Lisa Mateo, CBS News.
While scores of businesses are suffering because of the coronavirus, others have help wanted signs up. CVS says it's hiring 50,000 employees to help customers with coronavirus questions to work as sales associates and home delivery drivers. Dollar General looking for 50,000 new workers. Papa John's needs 20,000. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
If you're one of the millions of Americans who owes back taxes, if you get nervous when the mail comes because you might get a letter from the IRS, then you've heard. Their enforcement agents are cracking down this year and can garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk over unpaid taxes. It's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. The award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief will fight to get you the best deal possible, protecting your paycheck and your assets from IRS collections. But don't delay, because the IRS is tacking on interest and hefty penalties every single day. So don't wait until it's too late. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
And now, more of the best oldies on the radio with Carol Buckley.
1230 KXO.
Welcome to the weekly broadcast of Let's Talk About It, produced by the Public Affairs Department of KXO AM 1230 and FM 107.5 radio. Let's Talk About It is directed by Mario Espinosa, with the technical assistance of Carol Buckley. Opening and closing narration is provided by Gene Brister. This program brings weekly community mental health issues to your radio. Let's Talk About It is produced for and presented as a public service by Imperial County Behavioral Health Services. Andrea Coolin, Director. And now, let's join our co-hosts, Maria Wyatt and Scott Dudley, for today's program.
Welcome, everyone, to your weekly Wellness Radio. Let's Talk About It. We are brought to you by Imperial County Behavioral Health Services. This is your Wellness Radio for both Mexicali and Imperial County. I'm Maria Wyatt, and my co-host is Scott Dudley.
Hey, welcome aboard. So,
Long-time listeners, welcome back. You guys already know the routine. I'm going to mention this for the first-time listeners. Here's what we do in this community. This is Wellness Radio, and you're going to hear the show today, and you're going to think there's somebody
emphasis on wellness.
It really is. You're going to think that somebody else needs to hear the show. Your cousin Freddie is always my perfect subject. So anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to go to kxoradio.com. You're going to click on the Let's Talk About It link, and then you're going to cut and paste and share on social media and text and do all the little ways of sharing this podcast when it comes out so that the people you think need to hear it in the community get to hear it. We're already over 1,000 podcast downloads in English and in Spanish each month in the community, and almost all of those are local. There's a handful that go. We enunciate so well on the show that they use our show to teach people English in other countries. You didn't know that?
What?
This is indeed true.
Wow.
So we are good in multiple ways, but this is really important because this should be the most downloaded show ever in our history. I'm going to go on a limb and I'm going to say that everybody in the community should go ahead and hear this, including Colette's mom and dad and family and everybody else that makes her nervous about being on the radio. We are joined today by public health nurse Colette Ashurst. I'm going to get this right. She's a registered nurse, which is kind of cool because that's like the home run hitting of nursing, right? You're like the boss. And she works for Imperial County Public Health Department. Anybody ready to guess about what we're talking about? That's right. We're going to talk about the novel coronavirus, a.k.a. COVID-19, a.k.a. some other rude names, but we won't go there. Hi, Colette. Welcome aboard.
Hello. Thank you for having me today.
So if we're listening and we're not public health nurses, where do we start? What do we need to know about what's really shutting down our county right now and shutting down most of the United States as far as that goes?
Okay, so everyone has at this point heard of COVID-19. It is a coronavirus, and there are many coronaviruses that we experience. But however, the reason this one's called novel is because it's the first time we have seen this particular coronavirus. With that being said, we do not have antibodies built up in our bodies that allow us to fight off this particular virus at this point in time, and there's not a vaccine available to be able to vaccinate people at this point in time. So that's why it seems to be hitting very hard in many communities, and you've heard that it's a pandemic and it's spanning across, the world.
So brand new viruses are important because we've never had them exposed to us before. That makes a difference, right?
Yes, that does make a difference. But I do want to say that we have a lot of officials that have been following this and that are creating the vaccines and trying to get medicine out there to treat people. So the vigilance is out there.
Is this kind of like similar to what it was back then, like the Spanish flu, or what it was the other one, that
was like the 1918 pandemic flu.
So, yes. And that was that also like a new type of flu that we had not been exposed of? And then now, we've been exposed. We've had the flu, sometimes A or B or whatever flu it is. Is it something like that, so that we had never been exposed to? That's why a lot of people got sick and died? Or?
Yes, and it also happens for the H1N1. That was a novel virus that was actually here in Imperial County, was the first case we had ever seen. So on this, we got a little bit more of a heads up. It's also been associated with SARS when SARS came out. And
SARS is an acronym for?
Severe Acute Respiratory
Syndrome.
Yes.
That's one of the things we do in this show for fun.
So for clarification, because I'm like, wait a minute. If we had the SARS, why is it that when we had the SARS, we didn't close down? Like, we just got one from the CEOs, the public health, that, restaurants, they're closed unless they have drive-through, limit the amount of people do the social isolation. Why is it that we didn't do that for SARS, and we're doing this for the COVID-19.
I can't speak to why we didn't do it for SARS, but I can speak to why we're doing it for COVID-19. Right now, our biggest, one of the biggest agents we have for fighting this is social isolation. By not being out in public, then we can't spread it. There's not that opportunity to transfer it person to person or to pick it up from what we call fomites. So I cough and that spit lands on this table. The virus can last for so long on the table. Someone unknowingly comes over and touches it, and now they touch their eyes, their nose, or their mouth, and now they have the virus in their body. So by doing the social isolation, we are not putting contact between people, and hopefully the virus will die out. If it doesn't have a host, it can't survive.
Okay. So I guess, well, I still have questions. So with SARS, I mean, you can't speak to SARS, so I guess it means that SARS was not as contagious?
Or as fatal, perhaps?
Or as fatal as COVID-19?
I don't have the numbers in front of me as far as how contagious that was, but we look at rating the contagiousness of this disease, and you can find it on the internet as far as how contagious it is, but we look at influenza, and that's at about a 1, and with the COVID-19, you're looking at a 4. Wow. So when you're rating on the scale. So it is a very contagious disease.
Okay. Well, then definitely
for a couple reasons, right?
So the social isolation is like, yeah.
Yeah, and again, because we don't have the antibodies.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a big deal in fighting it.
I heard it lives for a longer time on surfaces than some viruses.
I've heard like 9 hours or something like that.
So the last report that I heard was between 2 hours and 2 days, and they hadn't narrowed it down yet. Again, this is a very new virus that they're still studying and trying to get information on.
Yeah, I heard that 2-day window, and that's a long time.
That is
a long time.
So I mean, somebody like in your office, you have like the virus and they cough. They coughed yesterday and it's still there. You think that, they're gone and it's not that big of a deal. And that's why we're recommending that you use the disinfectants on the tables, on hard surfaces, anything that's touched a lot, even in your own home, because those disinfectants will kill the virus as far as they're concerned. The recommendation is, the EPA approved disinfectants. Unfortunately, for people who are listening, they want to buy disinfectants. There aren't any.
They're not available. So also, if you go onto the public health website or the CDC website, they have information there about what dilutants you can use with bleach. I believe, I don't want to misquote it, but I believe it's 1/5 of a cup of bleach to a gallon of water. If you dilute that, and you can use it on hard surfaces and wipe it down, but do not mix it with any other cleaners because that can be dangerous.
Well, and you bring up something important, and that is whenever you're looking for information, going to somewhere like the Center for Disease Control, CDC, or the World Health Organization, and following their instructions to the letter.
Yes.
Is going to decrease your risk.
Yeah.
And I think right now there's a lot of panic going out in our community. And the biggest and best thing that I can say is go to the Imperial County website for your information about what's going on locally, and then go to the CDC website to find out what's going on within the United States and their recommendations. And then, like you said, the WHO as well is a great resource to use. Try to stay away from, social media and mass hysteria. I know that sometimes social media can be a great avenue for getting information first, but when you're fact checking and trying to get valid information, those are the resources I would use.
Well, I'm going to show us an example. The COVID-19, the news has been talking about the COVID-19, how it started in China and how many cases, and then when it started here in California, the cruise ships and everything. Well, my husband was like, it's just going to blow away. It's no big deal. People are just going into a panic mode. Until our president said something, which was just like 2 days ago.
It was pretty recent.
Yeah, it was today. Then he believed it. Other than that, he was just not believing anything at all until our president said something. And then, for me, it's like, you know what? The CDC has been talking about this. The World Health Organization has been talking about this. You should have been listening back then. I think whatever comes out of the World Health Organization or CDC, it's information that's accurate that we as people have to rely on. There's a lot of information out there in social media that people are just making up stuff. How to make your own hand sanitizers. They're probably using some people I saw in the news that they're spraying their kids with disinfectants. I go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, dangerous practices that happen when people are scared and afraid.
That is not on the CDC website. Or please spray your kids with disinfectants. No.
And I think you bring a good point up with the CDC. I mean, they've been very transparent in what they're finding and what their recommendations are, and open to questions. We've seen those news briefings. And so I think it's important that we do follow their guidelines.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to me because you've got this kind of middle ground here. It's like you do need to take it seriously. And you know, like, for example, we talk about the age range of those impacted.
Yes.
And I hear people who are in their 30s and 40s being fairly shrugging it off in some respects because they think it's something for people in their 60s and 70s to really have to worry about. And I see reports of fatality rates among 30 and 40-year-olds.
Yes.
There's a real balance of fear and preparation, so you're not overreacting, but you are reacting thoroughly. You want to speak to that?
You're right. It is a very fine balance that we need to find. Again, I think being informed and following the practices that are recommended by reliable resources and sources is a great idea, but falling into the panic is not where we want to go. It is affecting our elderly population more, 65 and older, especially with underlying conditions. But as you said, the 30s to 60s are still affected. Just like when we get the flu, people still die of the flu between their 30s and their 60s. The one demographic that we're not seeing is affected so much is our children. But at the same time, even though they're not being affected as much, do you want your child to be sick? Do you want them to have flu-like symptoms? Mm-hmm. And even with that, some people only get the sniffles, and some people are down and out for weeks. And how this is going to affect your body, you don't know. None of us can predict how any one individual is going to be affected by this virus. So why take the risk?
Absolutely. Well, and I would say this too about people who may take a casual based on have symptoms that are too, disabling or whatever. Here's the problem. If you've got this thing and you're not showing symptoms,
you can still give it to other people.
Typhoid Mary,
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. We'll get a little history on Typhoid Mary. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, Typhoid Mary, I don't remember what city it was.
It was back east.
Oh, we're all Googling it now.
No, it was back east. She had the typhoid, but she didn't show any symptoms at all. And I think because of her, the typhoid, so many people died just because of her, especially because I think she was providing food or was some type of cook. Yeah. So she passed it on to so many people, and there was, I think, I don't know, like hundreds of people that died because of her. And she never had any symptoms.
And again,
she was a carrier.
Yes, some people won't have symptoms, but they will carry it. With that said, like you said, there is that balance. You don't want to take that risk. Don't take any unnecessary risks. But if you do contract it, it is not a death sentence necessarily. Take that in consideration as well. Getting your rest, staying hydrated, taking your vitamins, doing everything you can, physical activity to keep your own body healthy is very important during these times. And again, the social isolation so that you're not exposed to germs that you don't need to be exposed to.
Right. I mean, there's almost, we'll dedicate a segment to how do we keep ourselves balanced, grounded.
Okay.
Using your immune system to its greatest advantage, I guess.
What do you do if you get social isolated, you're stuck at home? That's the first.
Well, I'm Generation X, so it's not really a big deal. I was a latchkey kid.
I think it's a great opportunities for families, especially with families who have children at home. One, you're working on your homework with your children, so that's your big chunk of the day. But in addition to that, it gives you the opportunity to pull board games out and to spend that time with your families and to check in with your kids and say what's going on with their lives and to have discussions about the frustration of being stuck indoors and what can we do. People have backyards. Go outside when the weather's nice. Throw a football around. It may not be the traditional of what we think, but I think there's an opportunity to get very creative and to create bonds within our families that might not have that opportunity because we're always so busy running around.
So that brings up a question. I mean, what about outdoor venues with small numbers of people, like a park at low peak hours, where there's like 100 people in the park, but nobody's within 20 feet of each other, basically? Is that being recommended or cautioned or?
So here's what I'm going to say about that. If you
Yeah,
have,
we're listening to you.
Well, because I'm thinking about somebody like in the park that sneezes or coughs.
So if you have a child who sneezes or coughs and now they touch the equipment.
Right.
And
so don't touch stuff. Okay, I got
And they touch the equipment, and then if we don't know how long this virus is living outside on hard surfaces, and another child comes, even a day later, if we're saying it could live up to 2 days, touches that, and now they touch their eyes, their nose, their mouth, they take it home, then you have the spread of that disease. So I know that
I saw El Centro bleaching down their playground equipment the other day, but they may only be doing that once a week.
Yeah, and I don't have that information right now, to be honest. We do have hand sanitizer. I mean, I know kids are going to go crazy. Parents are going to go a little bit crazy in the house. So, you have your hand sanitizer when you are out in public if you do touch something. As soon as you get home, though, wash your hands with soap and water. Make sure that you're disinfecting, not touching anything in your home before you wash your hands. And then also there's bike rides. So you're not touching anything when you're on a bike ride. You're not touching anything that's not yours when you're going out for a walk and taking the dog for a walk. So that's one of the other things I'm talking about.
So you could go to a park and walk your dog.
Yeah.
And you're not handling equipment. You're not using the restrooms there.
Yeah.
But what about it like cold weather? Like somebody coughs in front of you, or like a while back, like more than 50 feet away. They cough over there, and then you're on your bike. Do you pass through their cough? I mean, does it dissipate?
So outdoors,
in the wintertime,
how
the air is
distance?
a little bit.
I don't have an answer for you. I do not know how much distance outdoors. And the thing is, too, like when they're coughing, this is spread through droplet transmission. So it's through the spit, through the nasal secretions. It's not an airborne disease,
Yet.
That we know of.
What we know is that it's a droplet, transferred by droplets. So that's why we ask people who are sick to wear the mask, because we don't want them to spray when they cough and they sneeze. So that's
a common misconception that we're trying to iron out, right? If you put a mask on your face and you're not sick, you're increasing your chances of getting sick because you have to much transmission.
Exactly. It does not block transmission. So if you are healthy, please do not put a mask on unless you are caring for an individual in your home who has COVID-19, who cannot wear a mask due to the difficulty of them breathing. That's the only time we recommend a person wearing a mask that is healthy. But being out in the general public, it doesn't protect you because, again, there are airways through the sides of the mask and through the top, and your eyes are still exposed. So if someone coughs, you're exposed. There's no stopping it. The point of the mask is for sick people so they don't spray it on other people.
Okay, so how do I avoid touching my face? I'm noticing in the last couple of weeks how impossibly hard it is not to touch my face.
It is.
I think we've all become very conscientious about how much we touch our face in the last couple of weeks.
I missed it.
Yes, I think it's just forefront of your mind. Just don't touch. Again, and I think one of the
I usually think that like after I've already
touched it.
It's my nose or whatever, right?
Washing your hands frequently, making sure, that you're not contaminated anytime you come in from anywhere, that you wash your hands. I know we have the hand sanitizers out right now, but we're running low on supplies. And again, the number one practice is washing with soap and water. So if you have access to that, do that. If you go out in public, the hand sanitizer is what I would use.
Nice. One of the things I did we're still working in offices here.
Yes.
And that's subject to potential change, obviously.
Yes.
But one of the things I realized was when I was using public places in the office, like the restroom and the break room and everything else, that I was not very disciplined in my touchings. And so one of the things that I did was I took a yellow sticky pad and I put stickies up in front of every surface that says, open with your hip. Turn on the water with your arm.
That's a really good idea.
Flush the toilet with your arm. And I left the sticky things out. And I did it for me because I just was violating it every single time. I was just starting getting mad. And I started getting compliments from my coworkers that they were like, well, I'm glad somebody put these up because now I remember to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, working in a building, we share the restroom with other people, and you hear how long they wash their hands. You know what their doors they're touching, and you're like, And I think right now everyone is very conscientious about the 20-second, and being able to call people out who don't, I think has been one of the big things, too, of, hey, this isn't a personal thing. Like, we're just under these
You're not washing your hands, you're washing our hands.
Yeah. We're under these circumstances right now. So doing the 20-second at least wash, scrubbing all surfaces of your hands and rinsing under the water, and then using paper towels to hold the door handles when you open them.
Yes.
And then being courteous. If there's someone behind you, keep it open for them. Let them walk through.
So they don't have to touch it as well.
That's very true.
Because public touch zones, those are probably your hot spots in terms of transmission.
Most definitely. Because once you're in your home, I mean, I think most people at this point in time have sanitized their homes, cleaned their homes. Those who are on quarantine right now, have disinfected everything in the home. So it's when you go out, let's make sure that we touch as little as possible. And then when we come back in, let's wash our hands before we touch anything, take our shoes off at the door before we come in, and make sure that our homes stay as clean and sanitized as possible.
Are we dealing with a trajectory here? Obviously, it hasn't hit the Imperial Valley. Okay, so we are recording the show in the third week of March, or basically, and it's going to broadcast the first week of April. So already we may be having a conversation that has been surpassed.
Yeah, every day there's new updates and new.
We anticipate a trajectory. Is from a public health standpoint at this point, would you say that it is going to continue to go up for the foreseeable near future in terms of transmission, in terms of positive cases, et cetera?
Okay, so in the last within the last week, we have gone from 9 cases that have been tested here in Imperial County to 33 cases that have been tested. We currently have 24 that are negative, 7 that are pending, and only 2 that have currently stayed positive. So I believe that there will be more testing that is going on as we move forward. But these practices that we're putting in place with the social distancing is in the hopes of keeping this number down.
This is going to be, it's a fair question. I think it's a fair question. We have people whose primary health care in this community is in San Diego. We have people whose primary health care in this community is in Mexico.
Yes.
Are we sure that our cases are confined to just the ones that end up on our deliberate radar?
So we are working with officials down in Mexico as well, and there's communication happening on both sides of the border to be vigilant about this and watching what is going on.
So if they had a resident of, I don't know, Imperial, let's pick on them, who was getting their health care across the border, which is not uncommon at all, and that person tested positive in Mexico, would you guys be informed as kind of a courtesy, like shout out?
I believe we would be informed. Right now, we've been told about the 2 positive cases in Mexicali.
Right.
So there is surveillance going on. As far as how that conversation takes place, I'm not privy to that information, but I know that there is communication happening on both sides of the border.
And with San Diego as well? I mean, San Diego may have somebody with one of our addresses.
Yes. I cannot speak to the conversations that are happening, but I know that everyone is being very vigilant right now.
Okay, good. That's insurance. Okay, so let's take a short break. This is Let's Talk About It. We are sponsored by Imperial County Behavioral Health Services. We are here with Public Health, breaking down those silos. That's what we're doing today. We'll be right back after this short break.
Let's Talk About It, bringing community mental health issues to your radio. Listen each Sunday morning to Kxo AM 1230 at 7 a.m. and now on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Or log on to kxoradio.com for a 5-minute podcast highlight of the show or the show in its entirety. This program is produced by the Public Affairs Department of Kxo AM 1230 and FM 107.5. Let's Talk About It is presented as a public service of Imperial County Behavioral Health Services.
This is Let's Talk About It, your voice for wellness here in Imperial County. Join us this weekend every week because we are here for you, and today we are here with our Public Health Department. Welcome, Public Health. We're joined by Colette Ashurst. She's a registered nurse, public health nurse, and we are talking about, yeah, you guessed it, the COVID-19 virus. And you're like thinking, well, this is my behavioral health radio. So I tune in every week loyally and share the show on social media for behavioral health information. But I think one of the things we're learning, like right now today, is that this whole situation, whether it's the coping with the illness or coping with the risks of the illness or coping with the consequences that are being placed upon us by this situation, we're all feeling mental health vibes all over the place. So we start by, one of the best tools for anxiety, this is kind of a good thing, is information discernment. So it's not just gathering information, but it's gathering information from a very rational examination point where you can say, okay, this is what I know, this is what I don't know. And once you've got that, it's a lot easier to kind of contain anxiety. Anxiety feeds on lack of information or it feeds on bad information. So discernment of information. So we are here today with Colette, and we are discerning information regarding COVID. And so we're going to jump. Let's start right at the top with symptoms, so that everybody's got a real. I mean, we've heard them; they're all over the place. But let's kind of get it all in a nice little package that people can share and learn from.
Okay, so we're looking for fever, cough, difficulty breathing, and severe illness. And you might wonder what severe illness looks like, but you know, when you get the flu and you feel like you want to die, that's probably severe illness that you want to go to a practitioner about. I think mentioning the practitioner is important here. You want to make sure that if you are experiencing symptoms, please do not just show up at your practitioner's office or at the emergency room or at any urgent care. Please call ahead of time and let them know what your symptoms are, and they will guide you what to do at that point in time.
I'm one of those people that typically fails to respond to or notice symptoms. What are some of the first symptoms of a fever? And so how would I be cued in? Because, like I said, usually by the time I take my temperature, it's like $1.03.
So when you're running a temperature, you're going to feel, so you might feel hot at first, the hot flush, or you might have chills. You might, because your body temperature is raising, so the outside air is going to feel cold, so that's going to cause you to have chills. But also the chills is a way to raise up your body temperature internally to fight off whatever virus you have. So that sign is, you know, double sorted. Also, your body's going to ache a little bit when you start to get a fever, so look for that achiness in your body.
And we should all have thermometers right now, right? I mean, there should not be a household or a person who does not have a thermometer. I mean, they're digital, they're electric, they're a lot easier than they used to be.
Yes, please use a thermometer. People will show up to the emergency room or urgent care and they'll say, I've been running a fever. And we ask, how high is it? And they say, I don't know. I just know that I'm running a fever. No, we need to know how high it is. That gives us a degree of what we're fighting and how serious it is that we need to address.
So at what fever point should I take doctor action?
So it's not just the fever in and of itself.
Right.
You're looking at anything over 100.1 degrees Fahrenheit is normally what we classify as a fever. So if you're running that consistently, you know, keep an eye on it, but you're also going to look for symptoms of cough and of difficulty breathing.
And if you just had a fever, you probably are still okay.
Yes, so you probably have a virus of some sort, or you might have a bacterial infection, and that is, again, the natural way that our body fights off infections in our body, whether they be viral or bacterial. You're going to run a fever, and sometimes that's all it takes. You don't need any measures beyond that.
Well, because the fever is your body's effort to kill it.
Yes, exactly. It raises the temperature, so whatever it is,
it makes a hostile environment.
Yes, cannot survive inside your body.
Yes, which is why if the fever's moderate, not severe, then you should try and ride it out, right?
Yes, as a healthcare professional.
If you don't have other conditions that may be endangered by that.
Yes, if you don't have other conditions, and again, always speak with your healthcare provider for their recommendations on your plan of care. But a low-grade fever is meant to kill things off. Right.
So if you've got a fever of 100 and you're smart, I mean, because most of us, I think most of us don't take our temperature when it's 100. You know, we'll feel a little warm or whatever, but we'll just call it maybe a little bit too much coffee in the afternoon or whatever.
And your temperature will fluctuate throughout the day.
Right.
That's normal, but there's a normal range. Again, that's why I think, you know, we range between the 98.7 all the way up to the 99.9. Like, we don't really get too excited around that range because there's a natural fluctuation in temperature throughout the day. But anything above that 100.1 is where we start looking.
Let's break down respiratory. I in December, I don't usually get sick. This year it's just been kind of weird. I got a nasty upper respiratory, whatever it was, in December, and I was coughing and I couldn't sleep, and I had a mild fever, and I wasn't sure what it was, and of course I didn't see a healthcare professional because I'm a middle-aged man in denial. You know, that happens. And it went away. But so with this one, I've been hearing lower respiratory infection is more of a signal here, as opposed to upper. Is there a difference? And if so, what's the difference?
So generally when we look at upper respiratory infection, you're looking at a runny nose, sinus infection, the swelling of the eyes, the sneezing, and then that normally or generally can turn into a lower respiratory infection because you have the postnasal drip that goes down to the back of the throat and you start coughing. again, with this virus or with COVID, what they're looking for is the fever, the cough, and the difficulty breathing. So you are looking in the chest area and for those symptoms. There are people who can write it out and they're going to be perfectly fine. Like you wrote out this upper respiratory infection that you had previously. But with the pandemic that we have going on right now, if you think you have symptoms, again, contact your healthcare provider, have the conversation with them, and they can guide you on what is the best course of action.
At what point? Oh, so if you have respiratory symptoms at all, you should contact your healthcare provider and say, look, I've got respiratory symptoms now. What? Because a lot of people have.
Tis
the season.
It is the season, and you know, we have the influenza that's going around. There's other viruses that are going around. I think if there's any concern in your head, contact the healthcare provider office. Let them know what your symptoms are, and then go from there. Again, please do not just show up. And if you have questions, there are hotlines that have been set up to answer the questions that you have regarding COVID-19 as well.
So we let's talk a little bit about don't just show up, because we're trying to A, contain the spread, B, we're trying not to overwhelm health systems. That's a very real possibility.
Yes.
I've heard.
Yes, we're medically underserved area, and so we are already tapped in our resources, and then you add this pandemic on top of it, and the resources are even more tapped. The point of calling the healthcare provider beforehand, or the urgent care or the emergency room, is because we do want to isolate this, and we don't want you just showing up to spread it to other people.
Right, on the one hand, or we don't want 35 walking well people sitting in a room with one person who may have it.
Yes, yes.
And so the reverse is true too. So if you don't have it, you don't want to be in a healthcare facility right now.
Exactly. Stay home as much as possible.
It's not like I've got a little fever, I'm going to the ER.
No.
Okay, that's important. Let's see, what else do we need to say about symptoms?
Those are the symptoms they're looking for. I don't have much more other than that. I know that the healthcare providers have their guidelines that they're following.
So if we've got symptoms, then we might need a test. Now, testing availability is one of those places where information is all over the place. I saw LA County's testing triage the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very pretty. You had to have the symptom cluster plus like a direct relative. You know, you had to have a direct trace back to 19 to get it.
So as far as getting the testing done, that is done through the primary care provider's office at this point in time here in Imperial County.
Okay.
I know that there was
many people may not have a primary care.
In that case, they're going to be calling the urgent cares, correct?
Or clinicas or...
Yeah, you're going to call them beforehand, and they'll direct you where to go.
Okay.
I know Quest Diagnostics and LabCorp, it was released that they were providing the tests, but they are not physically administering them. It can only be done at the provider's office, and then they are running the test to get the results.
Okay, so the providers are handling testing.
Yes.
Do they have tests? Do all providers have tests? Is testing shortage an issue yet, or no? We're good.
I don't know at this point in time the answer to that question if there's a shortage, but I know that, at this point we've only had 33 people tested within our county for the virus, and I don't foresee that there's a shortage at this point in time.
Okay, good to go there. And then if it's done through our provider, then the other factor that may be playing out in our community is economics, because I haven't paid my deductible yet. And the test is not free.
So for insurance companies,
I'm sorry. That's okay. It's a reality, right?
It is a reality. And I believe that I saw that there is relief coming in that those who need to be tested for the COVID-19 will be covered. The insurance is required to cover it for those tests.
From a public health standpoint, probably the advice would be if you've got a legit symptom cluster, don't hold back because you haven't paid your deductible.
No, please do not. Please go get tested. Well, finances can be figured out.
Because the other trick to that is many of us are compelled to work.
Yes.
And something as threatening to our economic reality as, geez, I might have this. I probably should go get tested. Oh, but then I would be quarantined, potentially. And then I wouldn't be able to work, and I don't have some sort of insurance or sick days or other things to cover it. Can you see how people get squeezed into some really dangerous public health situations?
I do see that. I also know if you go to the CDC website, that they have a list there of resources that you can use. You can apply for family sick leave. You can apply for disability leave or disability insurance as well, which will cover, I believe it said 60 to 70% of your wages. So you're not losing everything. And again, with a virus that is so serious that is impacting our public health, it's important that we take those steps and isolate yourself when you are diagnosed with the disease, but also quarantine yourself when in these times.
Right. But the public health response sits in the middle of all these different other governmental responses. It's really going to take all of us coming together in some respects, huh?
Oh, most definitely. And being, socially aware, I think there are those personalities out there that want to work and want to be the workhorse and move forward, and that's very honorable. But if you are...
Oh, you mean those people that have 1,000 hours of sick time?
Yes. But in cases like this, if you are not feeling well or if a family member is not feeling well, please take it upon yourself to make those decisions to quarantine yourself to protect the good of the community.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Now, our community has begun to put out county-level guidelines on bars and other types of things. Some California counties have shut down, are basically shelter in place almost. I know my daughter's up in Santa Cruz, and yesterday Santa Cruz County basically told her to stay home. Of course, home is a big campus, so she's not that bad. But she can't go to the beach anymore, for example. Because it's not an essential function. Is that kind of one of those things that's going? Are we looking at kind of the future when we're looking at other California counties that have really, really restricted movement?
I'm not sure at this point in time.
Potentially, I guess.
Potentially, yes.
I mean, if one California county has done it, then obviously the state of California doesn't have an issue with it, and
right,
and its severity, the spread.
It is to protect the public. Right. Essential functions of going grocery shopping,
right.
Of getting your food, going to see your healthcare provider,
going to work in certain circumstances.
I believe those are permissible right now. That's what we're functioning under. But right. As far as social gatherings or going out and
is there a magic number now?
For social gatherings?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
No, social gatherings of all sizes at this point are discouraged.
So 10 is the magic number. And 10, you better have plenty of space in between everybody?
I'm not even reporting on the 10 at this point in time.
It may be zero. It may be zero.
Again, I believe the recommendation is...
Colette's staff members are going to rock in a couple seconds. This radio show is exceeding group organization. We are sitting an appropriate distance apart. Right now, for social distancing, what I've been told is that if I stretch my arm out and you stretch your arm out, and our finger, we wouldn't touch fingers.
No,
obviously.
So 6 feet. 6
right,
feet
so,
is
but,
the
but my arm and your arm, and if we're not touching, we're probably okay.
Probably okay.
Okay, good. So that's what people should... What about stuff like, I don't know, church? There's a place where people gather in our community.
As far as I know, there are several churches that have shut down their services at this point in time because of this issue, but I know that there are, of those churches that have shut down, they're trying to get the message out there in other ways, whether it be through broadcast or video or podcast, whatever way that they can get it out.
Right.
So we're utilizing our social media, our telecommunications, and being able to get messages out and allowing people to worship. And doing it as a family, too, because you are quarantined with your family. Again, that offers an opportunity for some bonding time there.
So social isolation and social distancing excludes immediate family members?
Immediate family members, those in your household, yes.
Okay. I am caregiving in elderly, actually, I'm caregiving one. We have, my mother-in-law lives with us and she's 94.
Mm-hmm.
She is in relatively good health for a 94-year-old. Should we be taking special precautions?
Yes.
Like,
so
why am I here, right?
Again, limiting your contact with outside people, keeping your social distance. You're here at work today, so keeping your social distance. When you go into your home, like I said, take off your shoes. before you enter the house, because whatever you walked on the street is going to be tracked into your home. And if you're going to later be going barefoot, or you're sitting on the floor, or if you have children and they're playing with toys on the floor, you don't want that contact in on your floors. The other thing is wash your hands before you touch anything in your home once you come in. And then if you feel like that you could have been in contact with anything, maybe take off your clothes, put them in a dirty hamper. Yeah, take a shower and then put new clothes on before you go and you provide care with her.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's probably good advice. If we've got small children at home, are there any different things that we would do?
The same recommendations that I just said, I would continue to follow those. Again, cleaning your home, sanitizing it, and then making sure that when you do go out, we all have to go out and do certain things. Make sure that you do those, but make as little contact as possible. Use your hand sanitizer, and when you come home, clean before you come in.
I've got some friends who are pregnant.
Yes.
Do they have additional concerns, or do they have additional things that they need to do for themselves?
I think right now our guidelines are the same for everybody. Keep your social distance, again, wash your hands as much as possible, cover your nose or your mouth when sneezing. If you start to show symptoms, contact your healthcare provider.
I'm glad I'm not pregnant right now, because I would imagine that is very worrisome.
Yes, and again, I cannot speak specifically to pregnant women.
Right.
It's not my specialty, but with any questions or concerns that you do have, please contact your healthcare provider and discuss that with them.
Ooh, good answer. We're here with Colette Ashurst. She's a registered nurse for the Public Health Department of Imperial County. We're doing all things COVID. We're going to take a short break. We'll come back and do one more segment of this show. Stay tuned.
Let's talk about it. Bringing community mental health issues to your radio. Listen each Sunday morning to Kxo AM 1230 at 7 a.m. and now on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Or log on to kxoradio.com for a 5-minute podcast highlight of the show or the show in its entirety. This program is produced by the Public Affairs Department of Kxo AM 1230 and FM 107.5. Let's Talk About It is presented as a public service of Imperial County Behavioral Health Services.
This is Let's Talk About It, sponsored by Imperial County Behavioral Health Services. Thank you for joining us this week and every week for your Wellness Radio. And boy, do we got some wellness in the house today. We are joined by public health nurse Colette Ashurst, and she's a registered nurse for the Public Health Department of Imperial County. And we are talking about COVID-19, a.k.a. novel corona, lots of different names. So welcome back, Colette.
Thank you.
If people have additional questions, or if at some point the situation changes and they need information locally, who should they contact and how?
I would contact the Public Health Department. You can go to their website at www.icphd.org. Again,
read it again, that's for sure.
That is www.icphd.org. The Public Health Department also has a county COVID-19 information line. So if you have additional questions, you can call. The number is 1-442-265-6700. Again, that number is 1-442-265-7700.
Nice. Thank you very much for those, and we'll give those out at the end of the show again. So if you're like scrambling around looking for a pencil right now, just find a pencil right now and stay tuned, because we'll do that one more time before we leave. So we were talking on the break a little bit about basically the need that COVID has actually drawn us back to the need for good, strong, solid hygiene practices, even amongst ourselves as family members. What are some of those things that we should just normally, naturally do that are even more important now if somebody's sick in your house or if there's a risk?
Okay, so if someone's sick in your house, you want to quarantine them or isolate them to a single room. Have one person care for them in the household, and you don't want them sharing
the designated victim. No.
Yeah, the designated victim. No, and just
drawing straws.
Yeah, drawing straws. Have as little contact with that person as possible. Do not share utensils. Do not share dishes, towels, blankets, or anything with someone who is sick. But also in the interest of not spreading the virus.
And this is if anybody's got any of these clusters of symptoms, regardless of whether they've been tested or not.
Yes, that is correct.
We should, until we get a positive, if they got symptoms, we should pretend it is positive.
Yes, always better to err on the side of caution. Okay. And then again, washing your hands for at least 20 seconds, scrubbing all surfaces of the hands, and then rinsing
What's
them
your favorite washing song? Isn't that the way we do this now?
I've heard ABCs. I've heard the birthday song Twice Over. Personally, I just count. I like numbers, so I just count. Now make sure your seconds are actual seconds. Don't
you have to put an and in the middle, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Some people, I just do a pause.
Okay.
So that's what works for me. And what were we talking about? Oh, washing the hands, covering your cough or your sneeze, not with your hands because you're spreading the germs that way, but into a sleeve or into a tissue and then throw the tissue in the trash. And those are pretty much the practices. Don't touch your eyes, your face, or your nose, your mouth with dirty hands. Be sure to wash them. Nice.
So basically, they get all their stuff alone, and I get all my stuff alone, and we don't commingle like food or, I walk out with their plate and they've got the best part of the steak was still on the plate. I need to just
Please do not eat after them.
Take a deep breath and let that go.
Yes, let it go. It all goes in the trash. And in fact, even between family members, if nobody is designated as sick, taking that extra precaution of not eating after each other right now might be a good idea. Because again, there are people who can be carriers and be asymptomatic.
Right. And that, which is of concern, because ultimately who's going to be able to predict that? So we all should kind of have, especially the people who are going out in public, like you and I doing the show today.
Yes.
When we come home, we should treat ourselves with the safe potential.
Yes. If we have someone at home who is at higher risk, such as elderly parents or people with underlying conditions, please do not have them eating after you. No coughing on them, sneezing on them. Take those precautions.
What opened our eyes when we were talking about this was the whole pet thing.
Oh, yes. So on the CDC website, it recommends that if someone is sick, that the pets not be in with that person. And then as we were discussing, you had said, like, if they cough or they sneeze, the droplets now on the pet, and the pet goes and shares it with other people in the household. So, that's a potential.
So if the cat's meowing to get in, you're like, okay, cat, you're going to be quarantined just like the person.
Yes. A little exposure is possible.
It really has opened up a world of increased attention to public health, to things that we really should have probably been doing degrees of all along with public health.
Yes.
Do you all feel vindicated? Are you like, well, we kept telling you?
I think the conversation sometimes comes to, these are the precautions that we took with influenza. We asked people, wash your hands, cover your nose, don't be out in public places if you're sick. Please go home if you're sick, like in a working environment, you're spreading it. Like we don't have the opportunity to get away from that. And at school, it spreads as well. So I think these are just guidelines that have been brought to the forefront of the public that are now being pushed.
Yeah. It's like, now we're serious.
Yeah.
And we should have been serious back when it was influenza, because it kills tens of thousands of people every year.
And I think that that's something that might, I hear people throw it out, and then I hear other people who don't really mention it. So that is a good thing, to acknowledge, is that there are other viruses that kill people that we get and that aren't novel. So having these practices in place protects us from all of these viruses that we can potentially get.
All right. So I've got an immune system and I've got mental health. What do I need to do to support both at the same time?
So let's start with the immune system. I think I touched on this earlier. We were talking about, one, making sure that you're getting your sleep so that your body is rested and able to,
and by sleep, we mean 7 hours at least, but preferably 8.
Yes, at least 7 hours a night is what has been recommended through the research that I have read, no less than 7. We like to see, I think it's between...
So when people say I get by in 5, they're cheating themselves and not being completely fair.
Based on the research I have read, yes, you may be able to function, but you are not functioning at your optimal level. You're not giving your body the opportunity that it needs.
You could be so much more.
Yes, you could be so much more. You're not giving your body the opportunity to rejuvenate and to be able to really process, one, the things that you've taken in the day before, but also for your cells to rejuvenate and be able to protect your body against viruses and bacteria and things that might be coming in.
And you'll look old sooner because you're not rejuvenating. Rejuvenating is like getting young again. Right?
That's true. Very true.
There you go. You want to look young forever, get your sleep.
Also, staying hydrated, drinking your glasses of water throughout the day. Hydration comes from water, not from caffeinated beverages or from soda.
Right.
Making sure that you're flushing the system.
And not from sugared stuff, right? I mean, sugared stuff is not very good for hydration either.
No, and I think that's where I was going with, like, the sodas, the juice, the teas. You know, I know we tend to enjoy our coffee and our teas and stuff like that, but please make sure that you're drinking your water, because hydration is key. If you're flushing the system out, you're getting rid of the toxins that are in your body.
We live in a very dry environment.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be lotioning too? Does that help maintain hydration or not?
So with the increase of hand washing, that's what I'm going to say. It will tend to dry out your hands and crack them.
Yeah.
After you wash your hands, I would just recommend putting lotion on your hands, because if you have a crack in your finger, that's an opportunity for something to come in as well. Your skin is your first line of defense, and you want to keep the integrity of your skin in place. So as you're washing your hands, just a little bit of lotion afterwards to keep them nice and smooth. And then if you're bathing, I mean, you know your hygiene practices. As long as your skin is clean and intact, you don't necessarily need to put lotion on all the time. But if you do have dry skin, I would think that would be something that you're already addressing.
Okay, excellent. Other things that we can do in terms of immune protection.
Okay, so in addition to the sleep and the hydration, eating well-balanced meals, making sure that you're getting the nutrition that you need, and then also any vitamins that you're taking, continue taking your vitamins. You want to just make sure that your body and your immune system is
optimized.
Yes, optimized, ready to fight whatever it may come, because if it's already compromised, then you have a greater risk of this taking you over.
So somebody who's already sick or already going through some immune battle might be more susceptible to getting sick again.
Yes, because your defenses are already down. So the soldiers that are in there fighting that other virus or that other disease or whatever it is, they're not able to go and properly address any new foreign viruses or bacteria that come into your body.
Okay, so sleeping, hydrating, eating properly, exercise?
Exercise is a great one. Yes, it has actually been shown to boost your immune system when you get regular exercise, in addition to many other health benefits.
You guys aren't really watching this, but Colette just had a dopamine boost off of the word exercise. I said exercise, and she was like, oh, yeah.
Yes, there are many benefits, physical, mental, emotional. And this exercise, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week does wonders. I think that anytime you're moving your body, you're getting endorphins going. It does boost the immune system. If you can get outdoors too, and like we were saying earlier, we're not, going to gyms, we're not doing any of that, but going a walk around the neighborhood for a walk or going on your bike, things that don't expose you to other people will also help in getting that fresh air whenever the weather permits.
So exercise is a piece of the puzzle, and being outdoors and breathing fresh air is actually a piece that can conjoin to exercise.
Yes.
But it's also separate in and of itself good.
Yes, and I'm glad you said opening the doors, fresh air. When you're in your homes, when we're being quarantined and we're having this social isolation, if the weather permits, please open your doors and your windows to allow fresh air to go through your house and to ventilate it so that you're not stuck in breathing all the same air as well.
Nice. That's a very valuable tip. So guess what?
What's that?
Everything you just mentioned for immune system health is also very important for mental health.
Yes, it is.
Who knew?
I call it getting back to the basics. And also with the mental health aspect, in addition to everything we just said, again, choosing your news sources wisely and not being overwhelmed, not letting news sources infiltrate your everyday and your every thoughts. Be informed about what's going on, but then after you have that moment of being informed or checking in, put it away and focus on something else. Focus on things that are there with your family or that you need to get done, or projects that you want to work on. If you are at home, you're quarantined at home during this time, this is a great opportunity to work on things that you haven't been able to work on, or to strengthen the relationships you have with your family members.
Nice. Well struck. I've already noticed on social media, it's actually getting redundant.
Is it?
It's like what? It's like numbers today, numbers tomorrow, numbers this, numbers that. And it's people going around and around and ruminating almost. It's the mental health term.
I have to admit, I am not big on social media. Part of that is this.
I would have pictured you for an Instagram person, but I don't know.
I don't even have an Instagram account, to be perfectly honest. But I think at this point in time, it's let me get the facts from where I know that they're reliable resources. Let me process that. And then
Public Health has a decent Facebook account. I will say that, though.
Yes.
You guys do you should get more likes. Every time I go to your account, I say, everything here is really useful and informative for our community. I wish it was getting more play.
Thank you very much for bringing that up. Yes, the Facebook that Public Health has is a great resource. Again, the Public Health Department is a reliable source of information. So if you are on social media, please go to that, to their website as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's also very important. So what else for mental health? What else can we do for mental health? Oh, I know, acts of kindness. So, well, I'm rapidly becoming one of the older people on my block, but I've got older people on my block. I can explore with them, keeping safe distance.
Yes.
About whether they have any unmet needs right now, because I think they've actually said if you're 65 or older, you probably should stay home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, people who stay home don't get groceries.
They don't. And like you said, acts of kindness, I think that's a beautiful thing that you brought up. If you do have communication, I know that there are people who have their phone numbers, they have children or whoever it is, but if you know if there's a need, just have them send you a text message or have a phone conversation and ask them, is there anything that I can get for you? Is there anything you need? And then you can drop those items off at their front door rather than opening the door, having contact with them, so that they can bring them into their home safely.
Yeah, that sounds good. And then I would say anything that makes you feel good and gives you strength, like spiritual community or this or that or the other thing, do it.
Yes.
Because you're going to be put under more pressure regardless of the circumstances, regardless if you have a sick person in your house. And that's going to get really hectic. But right now, everything's so changed that you put under stress. And so go to your go-tos. You know, love your family, love your church, love whatever your favorite drama, your favorite Netflix. I don't care, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is that feeds your soul, focus on that.
Yeah,
you know.
That's it.
And then a lot of those, I think we had touched on it earlier, as far as faith communities that aren't meeting in their churches. I believe that most of them are providing either recordings or podcasts or televising live, so that you have that opportunity to connect there as well.
Good deal. And then I would say one more. Mental health gets hammered by stigma. It's like we go around all day long doing the stigma thing. And this illness sometimes has been hammered by stigma. You've already seen it. Certain groups of people are ostracized. Somebody coughing right now gets side-eye like nobody else in the world. We need to be careful with that, too.
Yes, I agree with you, yes.
So, those are all good. Colette, thank you for coming aboard today.
Thank you very much for having me.
We've broken down the silo between public health and behavioral health, and so we will be intertwined. So anytime public health wants to come over here and do something, especially if it connects to mental health like this does, feel free to call us, and we will get this out on the radio. Okay?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right. This is Let's Talk About It. We are sponsored by Imperial County Behavioral Health Services. Join us this week and every week for your Wellness Radio. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Let's Talk About It. Heard each Sunday morning at 7 a.m. on Kxo AM 1230. And each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. on FM 107.5. This weekly broadcast is produced by the Public Affairs Department of Kxo Radio under the direction of Mario Espinosa with the technical assistance of Carol Buckley. Opening and closing narration is provided by Gene Brister. Co-hosts for tonight's program were Maria Wyatt and Scott Dudley. Let's Talk About It brings weekly community mental health issues to your radio. This program is produced for and presented as a public service by